In this video, we're going to show you how to install a fog light kit on your Subaru Impreza. Right here, I have our fog light set up on the floor just to show you how we're going to do it. This is the fuse side. This is going to be in the engine bay. And this red wire coming off, this is going to end up going to the battery. It runs down into our fog lights with the connectors. These will be in the bumper. Coming right off the end of the fog light, we have a ground wire. And then on switch side, we also have a ground wire and a power wire. When we turn this on and we have nothing, we don't have power to the switch, nothing will work. Once the switch is grounded and powered, and the lights are grounded and powered, then we'll get a green light on our switch and our fog lights will work. Remove the fog light bezel cover. We're going to use a little pick. There's a little tab in the top. Pull down on the little tab and pull forward on the fog light cover and remove it. Do the same thing on the other side. Remove the two clips for the front fender liner splash shield. And there's going to be one bolt up here. Remove the 10mm bolt. Pull down the splash shield. And then we'll be working up in this cubby. Do the same thing on the other side. Included in your hardware kit will be these little shims. Install them onto the fog light bezel. And this is what we'll use to screw the fog light to the bezel. If you're having trouble pushing them on, you can use a little pair of pliers and grab it at the back and push it on. Make sure it fully seats. We're going to slide the right two ends of the fog light into these two slots, and then we're going to close it onto here. Like that. This little pin up top is a locator pin, and then we'll put one screw in using a Phillips head screwdriver. Do the same thing on the other side. We're going to remove this air intake piece. There's two clips. Use a pair of clip pliers or trim remover, and then pull up and out. And we'll put that to the side. We're going to take our far end of the fog light harness with the ground strap. We're going to run this connector right behind the headlight down towards the fog light. We're going to grab a 12mm socket and remove this bolt. I'm going to take a little wire wheel and hit right here and take the paint off so we can have a good ground. Grab your bolt and then put the ground strap right there. And then we're going to snug that bolt back down. You can take a little bit of nail polish or paint and repaint over here just to avoid the rust starting to come around there. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to run that connector down to the fog light. I put my cable behind the little hood prop holder. And then I'll probably end up taking these brackets off and running the wire under there, just so it looks kind of clean. Grab your fog light harness connector and plug it in. Just like that. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Pull the liner back up and install the bolt. Push it back into the bumper. and then install your 2 clips. Do the same thing on the other side. To get our harness into the car, we're going to go through a grommet that's inside of the wheel well. To gain access to that, we're going to start by turning our wheel. Then we're going to take off this body molding piece. There's usually 2 8mm bolts here. We have 2 clips. Remove those. And there's going to be 1 more clip hiding right here. Remove that. Then you can pull the little splash guard molding down. Using a Phillips head screwdriver, we're going to loosen this clip up and then pull it out. Remove that clip. Then if you need extra space, you can also remove this one. Once you have those down, pull the fender liner down and back. I'm going to tuck it behind the wheel. And this is the grommet that we will be going through. Using a coat hanger or something sharp, we have this wire grommet tool that has a hole through the middle with a sharp end. Insert it right next to the hood latch cable and push in. Just like that. We're going to remove these 2 clips. And we're going to pull this liner out. That's going to allow us to run our switch wire down. Remove the clip for the washer bottle. Take the fuse side of the wire and run it behind there. I'm going to put this up over here for now. Using a 10mm socket, remove the nut off the positive. I'm going to pull the bolt back, install my positive cable. Put it back together. Tighten it back down. I'm going to run my positive wire down and around the fuse box. I'm also going to take that wire over here and run it down. Up the side. Then I'm going to take our fuse side, put a cable tie on it. I'm going to end up cable tying it to about here. Using a pair of snips, I'm just going to cut the end off that. And the same with the one in here. And then once we put this fender liner piece back, it's going to be nice and hidden. You won't really be able to see it. We're going to take our switch side and run it back along where we have the other harness. Run it behind here. Then I'm going to disconnect the switch for now. And we're going to put this in the car. Included in the kit, they give you an extra red wire. What I'm going to do is attach that to our switch harness, put the male end into the female end, and then this red wire is what we're going to use to run into the car. I'm going to chop this end off because this will not fit through the bulkhead or the little grommet that we're going into. I'm going to chop it right at the end, give myself enough room to put a butt connector on. I'm going to take this red wire. We're going to basically run it the same way that we ran the other harness. Up behind this fuse box, behind the battery. I'm going to give myself just a little bit extra here so I can tuck it down. I'm going to run it behind this fender bracket, down into the fender liner. And you can reach down and around, and you can grab it from outside of the car. The reason I don't really want to run it through these little spaces right here is because I don't want the wire chafing while we're driving. All the vibration could end up giving you a hole in the wire. We're going to put our wire through our grommet hole. Run it into the car. Using a trim removal tool, remove this side panel. Behind that, there's going to be one Phillips head screw. Remove that. Once you remove that Phillips head screw, grab at the top and pull down and remove this trim piece. Grab your red wire and pull it into the car. We're going to use this bolt for the bracket as our ground. I'm going to crack it free. I'm going to cut the sheathing back on this harness. So I have a little more room. I'm going to take the ground wire. And I'm going to put it behind that bolt that we loosened. That's going to be a good ground point for us. Then tighten that bolt back up. We're going to take our positive end here. We're going to strip it back just a little bit more. Give it a little twist. Plug your test light into a good known ground we're going to use right here, and then we're going to start testing, and we're going to find a fuse spot that works for us. With the key on, check for power on one side and ground on the other. We're going to use this bottom fuse location, and now we're going to make sure that when we turn the key off, that our test light on the powered side loses power, so our switch does not drain the battery when the key is off. To remove the engine fuse box, there's two tabs, one on the front and one on the side. Push those and pull up. And inside of there, you'll find spare fuses that you can use on the inside of the car. To replace it, line it back up, push it down. This is the fuse box from the engine bay. They have spare fuses inside. We are going to grab one of these to use in our dead fuse spot location. We're going to take our power wire. We're going to wrap the wire around one of the prongs on the fuse, and then we're going to put that power side into the side of the terminal that had power. Push it in, make sure it's secure. Now we're going to remove our test light. Take the red wire that we poked through the firewall. We're going to strip this back. Give it a little twist. Grab a butt connector. Put it on the end of the wire. And then using a crimp, we're going to crimp it down. Give it a good pull. Make sure it doesn't come off. Now we're going to grab the end of the wire that we cut off. We're going to strip that back. Give that wire a good twist. And then we're going to reconnect it to the wire that came through the firewall. Put the wire in the butt connector. Give it a good crimp. And then tug on them and make sure they don't come apart. We're going to take the red wire and attach it to our switch wire. Insert the switch onto its connector. Put the key in, start the car, and make sure there's a green light on the switch. You can test the lights at this point to make sure they work. You should hear the relay in the engine bay click. I found a dead button spot that I'm going to push through on our accessory panel, and then we're going to put our switch into there. If you don't have this, you can use another spot and drill a hole and make the switch fit. Install the connector into the switch. We're going to grab all of our wires, clean them up, and put a tie wrap around them. We're going to put these wires behind this accessory panel after they're all tied up, and then reinstall the accessory panel. Grab all your wires, wrap them in a zip tie, cut the little end off, it'll get tucked up in there. Grab the harness and plug in your connectors. Put the panel back in place, push it in, make sure all the tabs click in. Grab your Phillips head screw, reinstall that. Grab the side cover. Knock it back into place. If you used a coat hanger to go through the grommet or whatever tool you used, you can pull that out. If you just taped your wire to whatever you were doing, then you can just untape the wire from it. In my case, my wire is ran through the tool, so I'm going to have to cut my wire, remove the tool from it, and then install one more butt connector. Strip the wire back on both ends. Give them both a little twist. Put the wire in, crimp it down, give it a good pull. Do the same thing on the other side. And with the excess wire, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to zip tie it up out of the way. Just like that. Use a pair of snips. Trim off the excess. Pull your fender liner back into place. Tuck it up into the fender. Install your clips. If you remove this one, put it back now as well. Grab the splash guard molding. These should be screws. Our car has clips. And put the one in on the bottom as well. Clean up the wires in here how you'd like, and reinstall the foam piece and put your two clips in. Reinstall the clip for the washer bottle. If you'd like to clean up these wires, you can take these brackets off using 12mm sockets. There's one on each side. And you can do the same thing on the other side. Grab the airbox trim piece, install it into the air box, and then put in your two clips.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.